Now, almost anyone can make AI videos right from their computer, locally and offline. And yes, this is completely free, unlimited, and uncensored. Trust me, that was the first thing I tried out. So, a few days ago, this AI tool called Framepack just dropped, and this allows you to create super long videos just with a low-quality consumer-grade GPU. So in this video, I'm going to show you some cool examples, plus we'll go over how to download and install this on your computer, so you can use it for free for unlimited times. So first of all, Framepack is created by these two authors, and this guy especially, he is a freaking legend because he's also the guy who created ControlNet, which allows you to transfer different types of reference images to your image generations. But anyways, back to this. Here we have a new tool which takes in one image and a prompt, and it would generate a full consistent video from that image. So here are some of their demos. You can upload this image and you can get this character to dance like this. Notice how consistent everything looks. There's minimal warping going on. Or you can generate a photo of this woman and her cat and get her to move around like this. Or you can input this woman and get her to eat the food. It's particularly good at dancing videos, by the way. Or here's a fun one. Here's a baby holding a giant fish. And for the most part, everything looks very consistent. Here's an even cooler example of this Chinese painting, and it was able to animate the character and the smoke in the painting. And yes, this tool is super efficient and it can generate super long videos. So here's an example where we input a photo of this guy doing Kung Fu, and we can get him to continuously do this Kung Fu or Tai Chi routine for a minute long. Here's another example of getting this guy to dance, and you can generate a 1 minute long video of this guy continuously dancing. How crazy is that? And this is a local offline tool. Like even online closed source platforms like Kling or Hailuo only allow you to generate like 10 seconds of video max. So it's crazy how you can now just generate 1 minute of video right on your computer. And while these examples show videos of 1 minute long, you can actually generate videos up to 2 minutes long. Here are some of my generations. I wanted to test if it can generate high action scenes like a boxing fight. So here the prompt is an intense boxing fight. The men are punching each other, high action, fast movements. It's really important to specify keywords like high action and fast movements. Otherwise, it would generate a pretty slow-moving video. And as you can see, the generation is actually not too bad. Yes, the arms and the boxing gloves are pretty blurry, but overall it does generate a pretty high-action, intense fight scene from this. Alright, next I've uploaded this photo, and here the prompt is the girls dance gracefully with clear, fast movements, high motion. Again, it's important to specify the movement and the motion of this. Otherwise, it would generate a pretty slow moving video. Anyways, here's our generation. Here I've set the video to 8 seconds long, and for the most part, this looks pretty good. Note that I do have a setting called T-Cache turned on, so the hands and fingers are pretty blurry, but if hands and fingers are your priority, then you can always turn that setting off, which would generate your videos a bit slower, but you would get more details in the hands and fingers. Finally, I also wanted to test its ability to generate different facial expressions. So here I've uploaded an image of this woman, and then for the prompt, I wrote, the woman shows a very happy smile, then she suddenly looks very sad, then she starts crying. And note that this is an 8-second video, and she does start off with a very happy smile, and then her eyebrows kind of furrow, and then she does kind of start looking sadder, but with a smile. She doesn't start crying, however, so it looks like it's able to handle some expressions, but maybe not more extreme expressions. And then I also wanted to test its ability to generate videos of different styles. So here's a 3D Pixar-like image, and then for the prompt, I wrote the characters are talking furiously with clear, fast movements, high action, and this scene is surprisingly good. It looks like a scene straight from a Pixar movie. I mean, it's pretty hard to tell that this was AI generated. And note that I generated this entire scene offline on my laptop, so this is a super powerful tool. And then in addition to 3D Pixar, I also wanted to see if it can generate anime. So here I've inputted this photo of 2 anime characters, and then for the prompt, I'm simply going to write they are talking. And here's our generation. Note that if I don't specify any motion or movement, then they don't really move as much, and I guess the girl on the left does open her eye, and the character on the right does start talking a bit, but the motion is really minimal. Here are some generations from other users. This user inputted an image from Friends, and they were able to get Framepack to animate the scene. Note that it even shows a woman walking across the scene, and then we have this man walking across the scene as well. For the most part, everything looks super consistent. There's no warping or deformations going on. This is really impressive, and note how long the generation is. Like, this is a minute of video. And then instead of getting people to dance, you can also get people to kiss each other. So here the user generated this nice bromance scene. And then here's another example where this user inputted a 2D photo, and you could get him to do a thumbs up and smile like this. And of course, you can also generate a beautiful lady with stable diffusion or flux and then plug it into here and get her to do anything. This is completely uncensored. Now, obviously, I can't show any of that on YouTube, so here's just a cute girl doing a thumbs up. Here's another cool example where this user has inputted this photo of a Gundam statue, and they got Framepack to make the Gundam take off. Although at the end there, it looks like it took a dump as well. And then here's another really cool cinematic scene where it got this man to walk confidently alongside a vintage wooden train. Note how not only is the man walking, but the train and the smoke and the people in the background are also animated. And this looks so cinematic, like straight from a movie. Thanks to Vidu for sponsoring this video. Vidu is one of the top AI video generators out there with a ton of capabilities. Their latest Q1 model is even better. It has improved clarity, detail, and semantic accuracy, making it a powerful tool for content creators and filmmakers. It's really good at creating all types of video. For example, here's a text-to-video generation where the prompt is an intense boxing fight. As you can see, it's super realistic and consistent. Now, instead of text-to-video, you can also do image-to-video, where you can upload a start or end frame. So here's an example where I upload this really complex image as a start frame, and as you can see, everything is super consistent. Or here's another example where I upload an anime image. Plus, they have a ton of other features like reference to video where you can upload images of objects or characters you want to insert in the video. Vidu Q1 sets a new standard for AI video creation. Try it for free via the link in the description below. Alright, next let's go over how to install this locally on your computer. So there are a few ways to do so. The first way is via their official GitHub repo. So if you scroll down, here it says you do need an NVIDIA GPU, but the nice thing is it only requires 6 GB of VRAM, so even a low-end GPU is able to run this. Note that this is a huge drop in memory requirements compared to previous video generation packages like Wan or Hunyuan, which originally required 80 GB of VRAM. So this is crazy. And then, wait a minute, did I see this correctly? We have a one-click installer. This is way too good to be true. I mean, props to this guy. He's an absolute goat. If you've been following my channel, you should know that it's a pain in the ass to install some of these open source packages. But here we just have a one-click installer. So I'm just going to click on this, and then it's going to install this 7Z package. So I'm going to click save, and note that this is around 1.7 gigabytes in size, so it's going to take a while depending on the speed of your internet. While we wait for this to download, note that there are a few other places you can use Framepack. So another option is this nice tool called Pinocchio, which allows you to install these AI tools in one click. And they've already added Framepack. So you just need to download Pinocchio and then download Framepack from their list. And we also have this Comfy UI integration created by another goat called Kijai, and this allows you to use Framepack in Comfy UI. As you may know, Comfy UI is super customizable, so this gives you even more flexibility. But note that right now, this is still a work in progress. Alright, so the download has finished, so I'm going to open this, and then I'm going to extract this wherever I want. For me, I'm just going to drag and drop this folder on my desktop. Note that the total size is 6 gigabytes, so it's going to take some time for it to extract everything. Alright, so after that's done, let me just drag this over here and open it. And then the next step is to just simply double click on this run.bat file. So once we open this, you might get this Windows Defender message. And at your own discretion, click Run Anyway. And then now it's proceeding to install all the models that are required. This takes a total of 30 gigabytes in size, so make sure you have enough space on your hard drive for it to download everything. Alright, so that took forever, but after installing everything, if all goes well, it should give you a local URL, and it should automatically open this Gradio interface on your browser. Note that even though this is using Chrome, it works completely offline. This is a local URL. And if you don't see this interface, simply hold Control and click on this link. Now, let me exit out of here and show you how you run this from scratch the next day. So we simply need to double click into this Framepack folder and then double click on this run.bat file. And this should automatically open up your terminal and then load the downloaded models and then open up your URL. It's as simple as that. Now we could start generating videos right away, but note that at the top here it says these 3 things are not installed. So the following step is optional, but it's going to really speed up your video generation process, especially if you have low VRAM. So let's go over what these 3 things are. Xformers is a tool you can use to speed up your video generation just a bit more. And then Flash Attention can speed it up even more. And then finally, Sage Attention is the fastest. However, this one does sacrifice some more quality. So out of these 3, the best balance between speed and quality would be Flash Attention. So let's actually go ahead and install this right now. So I'm going to exit out of this and exit out of this. And then going back to our Framepack folder, you should see this system folder. So let's double click on this and then double click into Python. And here's where Python and all the other packages are stored. So at the top here, let's type in cmd to open this folder up in our terminal. Now the first thing we need to check before we install Flash Attention is the Python version, our CUDA version, and whether we already have PyTorch installed. So let's check our Python version first. Notice that if you do have Python installed on your computer, this is completely different from the Python that is installed via this automatic installer. So you need to open up this folder first and then type in python.exe and then -- version. So here it says it's using Python 3.10. Alright, the next step is to check if this installer has already installed PyTorch, which is needed for Flash Attention. So the next step is to list out all the packages and dependencies you have already for this project. So let's type in python.exe and then -m and then pip list. So after we press that, it's going to list out everything it has installed already. And if we scroll up here, you can see that actually we have Torch 2.6.0 and then CUDA 12.6. So for Flash Attention, we would need to install a version that works with Python 3.10 and then Torch 2.6 and CUDA 12.6. It's a pain in the ass, but this is how it's done. So the next step is to go to this site, which I'll link to in the description below. This has all the pre-built wheels for Flash Attention for Windows. So if we scroll down here, you can see that there is CUDA 12.6 over here, and this is for Torch 2.6 and Python 3.10. So this is the version that I'm going to download. Let's click download here, and then you can save this wherever you want. I'm going to save it in my downloads folder and then click save. So let's go to our downloaded wheel. I'm going to right click and then click copy as path. And then back in our command prompt, which is opened within our Python folder, we will type in python.exe-m pip install. So it's going to use Python in this Python folder and pip to install, and then we're going to paste in the path of the wheel that we just copied. So this is going to basically install Flash Attention with the appropriate versions of CUDA, Torch, and Python. So let's press enter and wait for this to complete. Alright, so after it says successfully installed Flash Attention, let's exit out of here. And then now if you open up your Framepack folder again and then click on run.bat, you should see that Flash Attention is now installed. And this is going to make your video generation a bit faster than if you don't have it. Alright, so it's going to open up this interface automatically, and it's pretty simple to use. So you would drag an image onto here to use as the first frame. So I'm going to upload this image of a cat girl, which I made in Stable Diffusion, and then for the prompt, you can get her to do whatever you want. Now, there are a few tricks to making a good prompt for this. In the official Framepack GitHub repo at the bottom, there's a section on how to write a good prompt for Framepack. So what you could do is actually paste this prompt into ChatGPT You are an assistant that writes short motion-focused prompts for animating images. When the user sends an image, respond with a single concise prompt describing visual motion, etc., etc. And then afterwards, you can upload an image and it would give you the appropriate caption. Or you can just write the prompt yourself, but here it says concise prompts are usually preferred. And what I found is that you need to specify the motion of everything. So if you want to get her to dance, for example, you need to say with clear movements, or if you want her to put her arms up or to turn around, make sure you specify that clearly in your prompt. So for example, for us, let's try this prompt. The girl dances gracefully with clear movements full of charm. And then here are some additional settings. So if you have T-Cache on, then it would generate the video faster, but it does make hands and fingers a bit blurry, as you can see with my previous example. So if the clarity of hands and fingers is a priority, then definitely check this off. For this example, I'm just going to leave that on to make this a bit faster. And then the seed is basically the starting point of your generation. So there can be almost an infinite amount of videos that you can generate from this start frame and with this prompt. And the seed basically specifies that generation number. If you leave the photo and the prompt and all the settings the same and you set the same seed, it's going to give you the exact same generation. For me, I just tend to leave it at -1, which would set the seed to a random value. And then total video length, this is the awesome part. You can drag this all the way to 2 minutes if you want. So this is definitely more than enough to generate one decent scene for a show or a movie. Anyways, for me, I'm just going to leave it at 5 seconds. And then for the number of steps, in general, the higher the value, the more quality each frame would have. But at a certain point, you're going to get diminishing returns. So it turns out the sweet spot is the default value of 25. If you set this to a lower value, it's going to generate your video faster, but you're going to sacrifice some quality. And actually for me, I found that even a step number of 15 works pretty well. So I'm going to set this to 15 to make the video generate faster. And then the CFG scale is how much the model follows your prompt. Like, should it take it more literally or less literally and be more creative? In general, I tend to just leave it at the default value of 10. And then this setting, GPU inference preserved memory, if you have very low VRAM and you see an out of memory error, then you can drag this to a higher value to see if it works. Basically, it reduces the burden on your GPU, but it does cause the video generation to be a bit slower. For me, since I have 16 gigabytes of VRAM, let's set this to 6 and see if it works. And then MP4 compression, lower means better quality, 0 is completely uncompressed. I'm just going to leave it at the default of 16, which isn't actually too bad or noticeable. So that's pretty much it. Let's click start generation. And actually the process on how it generates this is really interesting. So let me also briefly talk about that. All right, so here you can see that it's first generating some preliminary frames that look like this. So this is just a rough outline of what the video would look like frame by frame. And then it's going to use this as a reference to actually generate the video. And then you should see the progress over here. So I've set it to 15 steps. So you can see right now it's running step 9 out of 15. All right, so after it reaches step 15 out of 15, you should start seeing 1 second of video over here. But it's not complete yet because we've set this video length to 5 seconds. So interestingly, what this is doing is it's first generating the last 1 second of video for this clip. And then it's going to go backwards and generate the next 1.1 seconds until the entire video is 5 seconds. So again, for the next 1.1 seconds, it's going to generate these preliminary frames first and then run it through this model using 15 steps. And so after a few more rounds of that and stitching all these 1 second videos together, we get our 5 second video, which looks like this. And to save it, simply click on this download button at the top here. So that sums up my review and installation tutorial of Framepack. It's super easy to use, plus they have a one-click installer, and this works with as low as 6 gigabytes of VRAM. So this is accessible to a lot of people. A few final things to note is that Framepack is based on Tencent's Hunyuan as the base video generator. Note that when Tencent first released this, they wrote that the minimum VRAM requirement is 60 gigabytes. So it's pretty insane that in just a span of a few months, we've reduced the requirements by 10 times. Another thing to note is that there are a ton of fake sites out there pretending to use Framepack, including but not limited to all these domains. These are all fake and you should not use any of these websites. This GitHub repository, which I'll link to in the description below, is the official and only website for Framepack. Anyways, I'll link to everything in the description below. Let me know in the comments what you think of this. If you've already had a chance to play around with it, let me know what cool or impressive generations you were able to come up with. And if you run into any errors while installing this, welcome to copy and paste the error into the comments here, and I'll try to help you troubleshoot as much as possible. As always, I will be on the lookout for the top AI news and tools to share with you. So if you enjoyed this video, remember to like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for more content. Also, there's just so much happening in the world of AI every week. I can't possibly cover everything on my YouTube channel. So to really stay up to date with all that's going on in AI, be sure to subscribe to my free weekly newsletter. The link to that will be in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.